What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here to give you my Cleveland Browns record prediction for the 2021 NFL regular season, going game by game, pick by pick, previewing the Cleveland Browns schedule and giving you my prediction for their record this season. Before I give you my record for the Browns in 2021, make sure that you do spike that like button, subscribe to the Bottom Line View for more NFL record predictions just like this, and get in that comment section. Let me know what you guys think. How do you think the Browns are going to do this season? What matchups do you like for them? What matchups do you not like for them? Get in that comment section and let me know. Also, make sure you check out the rest of the playlist where I break down the AFC North and the entire NFL. Let's get to that schedule. The Cleveland Brownies kick off the season in a tough way. They start the season in Kansas City, just about the toughest matchup that you could ask for in week number 1. But at least we're going to get to see how the Browns match up with the Chiefs right away, right? The Chiefs, it's no secret, they wanted to improve their offensive line, and it's no secret that the Browns wanted to improve their defense. Well, they've both done that, and I think these are the two best teams in the AFC on paper heading into this season. So we will find out a little bit about this matchup that could potentially take place again in the playoffs, but I will say this, it's only week 1, so I wouldn't put too much stock into this game if you win or you lose. In this case, I'm going to say you lose. There's a reason for this. I think the Chiefs just will have more continuity. There's a lot of new pieces for the Browns in the secondary, on defense specifically. Odell is coming back from injury. There's some things with the Browns where I'm a little bit worried, or I don't quite know what we're going to get. With the Chiefs, yes, they have some new pieces on the O-line, but Andy Reid in week 1 is probably the best coach there is. He draws up plays we've never seen, schemes we've never seen, and always seems to have a great week 1 game plan. So I'm going with the Chiefs at home in that game. Week 2, the Browns play the Texans. I do not think Deshaun Watson will be their starting quarterback. I believe it will be Tyrod Taylor. In that case, this should be a walk in the park versus maybe the worst team in the league. The Chicago Bears, week number 3. This one might be tough, just in regards to the Browns are a run-first team, and when you look at the Bears with Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, Eddie Goldman, and Akeem Hicks, I mean, it's going to be tough to run on the Bears for anyone in the NFL, and the Bears have done well versus a team like the Vikings, who run a very similar offense, so it's going to be on the Browns' defense to step up. I'm thinking it will still be Andy Dalton in this game, and I'm not expecting some crazy rookie performance from Justin Fields. So I'm going to take the Browns to win this game at home. Week 4, they play the Vikings, who I just alluded to are a very similar offensive team. 2 great receivers. They love to operate that rushing game, outside zone, use some play action. And quarterbacks are both good, but not considered upper echelon. So this game's even. I see the Vikings at home as a tough place to play. Really? Man, just thinking about this, I'm going to go with the Vikings here. Just because they are at home, but this one could go either way. I see it as both teams are going to want to run the ball. And I just think the Vikings will better do that in this game, because Cleveland's weakness, I think, is stopping the run. So I'm going to go with Minnesota in their home building to pick up that semi-upset. Week 5, the Browns and the Chargers. This is another tough game. So you play the Vikings, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. All 3 teams, I think, will make the playoffs in the first 5 weeks. Justin Herbert's a challenge. This will be a big challenge to the Cleveland secondary. And I could see this one, being difficult, but I don't see the Chargers having a real great run game like the Vikings. I think defensively, they're pretty good, but I have some questions about them, especially with their depth up front. So I'm going to take the Browns here. I think the Browns are just the overall better, more complete team. That's why I'll take them. Week 6, the Cardinals. I'm going to take the Browns here as well. Now, I will say the Cardinals are used to playing the Browns type of defense. They play the Niners, they play the Seahawks, who run a very similar scheme. So they'll kind of be used to playing that style, but I do think the Browns have enough athletes to contain Kyler Murray. I'm not sold on Cliff Kingsbury as a coach. I think Stefanski is a far better offensive and just overall coach. So I'm going to go with Cleveland. I just think they outcoach the Cardinals. Week 7, the Broncos. This one could be a little tough. This is a Thursday nighter though, and typically I lean towards the Thursday night home team just inherently because that's a tough schedule break for that team. So I'm going to go with the Browns in that game. Again, they're the better team. They'll have the better quarterback. But I will say that just like the Bears, the Broncos are a team that have a feisty, tough front seven and will not make it easy on the Browns offense. So this one might be a little bit boring on Thursday night. Week 8, they play the Steelers. I think they should beat the Steelers at least once, if not twice. They showed us in that playoff game that they can really expose the Steelers defense. I thought that game plan in the playoffs, side note, was just fantastic. And I would really like to see how the Steelers try to adjust to that without the corners that they used to have, without Bud Dupree again. So we'll see how that works out. I think the Browns have upgraded their secondary to cover the Steelers receivers, which is maybe the strength of their team in that passing game. So I really think the Browns are not a great matchup for the Steelers this year. Week 9, they play the Bengals. I actually think they're going to lose one game to the Bengals this year. It's just going to be kind of fluky. I think it's just going to be like, a divisional game. But I'm going to say that the Bengals win this one. Riding off a big win versus the Steelers. I think maybe the Bengals sneak in here and pick up a win. It's really nothing to do with the Bengals being a better team because they're clearly not. But I will say Joe Burrow will put his team in a lot of games. There's going to be a lot of familiarity here. And I will say the Bengals have one of the most elite weapon cores in the league, which is going to be difficult for any defense to handle. So I'm going to go with the Bengals there in the Battle of Ohio in the first one. Week 10, the Patriots. Now, I'm very high on New England. Of course, they're my team, but I think they're going to be very good this year. This could be a real good game for the Cleveland's offense versus the Patriots defense. I think that's going to be a showcase. I think the Patriots defense is elite and the Cleveland offense is elite. And it will really come down to what the Patriots offense can do versus the Browns defense. At the end of the day, I think this could end up being a sneaky shootout type of game where the Browns can get their ground game going just enough to kind of, keep the Patriots defense on edge and utilize that play action to get some open players. But I do think that Cam and the Patriots offense is going to have a good day on the ground as well. I'm going to say, now, weather and things could change this, but I'm going to go with Cleveland here just for now. I could definitely flip to New England, being that it's in New England, being that, rain and weather and things in Week 10 could certainly change it and shift it in the Patriots' favor. But I'm going to take Cleveland. Week 11, the Lions and the Browns. I'm going to go with the Browns here. Again, the Browns are lucky. They play the Lions and the Texans, who to me are clearly the two worst teams in the NFL. Week 12, the Browns and the Ravens. I have the Ravens winning at home, and then after the bye week, this is crazy. So the Browns play the Ravens, bye week, and then the Ravens. That's a very unique thing, but I think that's kind of cool, especially if they end up playing again in the playoffs. These teams will have a lot of familiarity with each other, but I think the Ravens will be good. I think they'll make the playoffs. I have them splitting this season. The Ravens were able to beat them in that thriller with Lamar Jackson last season on Monday night. This season, I believe they play on Sunday night, which will be a very exciting game that I'm really, really looking forward to. But I think they end up splitting this season. The Ravens have been the toughest matchup for the Browns in this division, and I think that kind of remains, and they're clearly the top two teams in this division. Week 15, they play the Raiders. This one, honestly, is kind of interesting. the Raiders are like a bad version of the Browns. Like the Raiders want to be the Browns in a way. I just don't see the Browns losing this game. I just think they're too talented to lose this game, honestly. But I could see the Raiders, picking up one of their crazy upset wins. Week 16, they play the Packers. I'm actually going to go with the Packers here. It's in Lambeau. It could be like real cold or snowing at that time of the year, and that automatically favors Green Bay. I still wonder, this will be a true test later in the season heading into the playoffs, facing Aaron Rodgers, hopefully it's Aaron Rodgers, how the secondary looks as they're starting to mesh heading into the playoffs. And that will give you a true sign of how good they are. The offense should find some success, but I think the Packers could squeak out a kind of shootout type win. Week 17, the Steelers once again. I have the Ravens sweeping the Steelers. And I might also have the Browns sweeping the Steelers as well. I mean, it's really, really, really interesting. I think the Steelers are going to have to... Man, I'm going to say they do. Just now. I might change my mind, bro. But, honestly, I don't think the Steelers match up well with either team. I would say they match up a little bit better with the Ravens. But it's not great on either side. And then I think the Browns pick up the win in Week 18 over the Bengals. So that would have them at 12-5, which I think is the exact same record I gave the Ravens. And honestly, I think I had them at 13-4 before. So if I'm looking at this right now, I could easily say they sweep the Bengals. I think they will lose to the Chiefs. I think it's, the Vikings will be tough. I think they'll lose one of the Vikings or the Chargers games. I think that's pretty fair to say. Or even the Patriots game. So I think 12-5, 13-4 is about what you're looking at for the Browns. It's a fairly tough schedule, playing some of the best teams in football, especially in the AFC. You face the AFC's best except for the Bills. So that's going to be a real tough test. But I think the Browns will be able to make it out and be able to win this division and look pretty good heading into the playoffs. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. It's Mitch. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button. Check out the rest of the playlist. And subscribe for more BLV. Peace.